Hello lovely people and welcome to this week's video. My name is Philippa and I teach yoga in Mid Wales in the UK. Before we get going, I'm going to invite you please to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Give me a thumbs up if you like what I'm doing, and even better is to make a comment. We're working with an 11-week course and the videos are all on YouTube, so you can always look back to see what we've done before. We've been working with the idea of strength and peace, so the idea that you can cultivate these two things to move forward in a beautiful, strong but peaceful way into the world. We've been working with warriors and balances. And today we're going to add Warrior 3 into some of the poses that we've been doing. If you're practicing from the mat, we're going to start in just a lovely comfortable seat. So however you're sitting, that you're comfortable. I've got a couple of blocks that I'm up here because I like to have my knees behind because I've got a bit of a sore knee. But sitting cross-legged is fine, or you might need to be starting in a chair. So if you're practicing from a chair, it's really important to make sure that your legs aren't being pulled here, which is why I've got this block underneath my feet. You can use a book if you haven't got a block, but it's really important that you're sitting up really nice and straight. So make sure that your knees are straight out in front of your hips, hands gently down on the knees, sitting up really straight, imagining yourself being pulled up by a thread. Okay, so no matter how you're sitting, make sure that you're going to be comfortable. We're going to come into a nice, quiet, centered pose. I'm going to invite you to close the eyes or lower the gaze if you're comfortable too. Bring the awareness into the breath, and we're just going to start by arriving. So just being aware of the cool air moving in through the nose, warm air moving out through the nose, and just gently dropping into the floor at the same time as rising up nice and brightly through the crown. Lovely. So we're going to start making some gentle movements with the arm. So we'll take the left arm first. I'm mirroring. So take it behind you, and then we're going to bring it all the way forward, and we're going to take it as far to the diagonal, like to the diagonal corner of the room as we can, and then bring it all the way back, following your hand with your eyes and going all the way the diagonal the other way. So we're going to do that 2 more times. So following the palm with your eyes, coming all the way up, seeing if you can keep your arms straight for the whole journey. 1 more time, coming all the way over to the diagonal, following the palm. And then when you get round to the back, we're going to just take a moment, put that palm on the ground or take it behind you as a bind. And then we're going to come back and just do it the other way. So looking at the palm, coming all the way round, bringing it back through, all the way round. So we're really reaching as far as we can go in both or all of these directions. And then when we've done the third one, we'll come back and just take a moment here, close the eyes and just feel the difference between the 2 sides. And then starting on the other side. So inhaling, coming up all the way back through and bringing the arm far into that diagonal as we can in both directions. 1 more on this side. And then when you come down to the end, we're going to come back round, going all the way over. Following the palms, reaching up through the middle finger. Last time on this side. Really making all the effort you can. And then we'll come back, and I think I might have done it the wrong way around, so it doesn't matter. So we're going to end up with that hand on the ground, looking down there. And then we'll come back again to the central position. Beautiful. So we're going to do it in both directions with both hands. So we're going to see if we can take the arms across each other and all the way up and round. And then when we come back, if you can touch the floor, that's amazing. If not, just hold your arms on the back of your chair or wherever. And from here, we're going to push the chest forward, keeping the chin slightly down, really opening the chest, opening the armpits. And then we're going to inhale, bring the arms all the way back over, take them across each other the other way, and coming back to the beginning. And then we'll just do that again. So taking them across each other all the way up and landing behind you, pushing up through the chest just for a moment, and then inhaling, coming back over, crossing the hands the other way, and then coming back to the starting position for a moment. So from here we're going to take a little side bend. So you can take your right arm out to the sides, inhaling, left arm coming up, and we're going to come over. Make sure you're keeping both sit bones on the ground, and a great way of doing this is to try and push these ribs out to the side a bit, and that helps you to come into this beautiful curled side bend here. And then we'll come back over to the other way, so taking the bottom fingers out. Don't go over until you're ready there, coming over into the side bend and push those right ribs out to the side. Beautiful. And then we'll raise the arms up, have a look up between the hands for a moment, and then we'll bring the hands back down onto the legs. So if you're sitting on the mat, we're going to turn around, sit down and do a twist on the mat. So if you're sitting on the mat like me, like this, it's really good to have a cushion or a block just under the very back bit of your body. Can really help you to sit up nice and straight. I'll show the chair people how they're going to do their bit in a minute, but for now we're doing this. So from here, lifting one knee up, it doesn't really matter which way you do it, but so you've got the foot flat on the floor by your thigh. And then if this feels like it's enough for you, just stay here. But if you feel like you could bring this foot over so that it's next to the knee on the other side, or it might be a bit further down, that's fine, but just wherever you can get it. From here, grab hold of your knee and just see if you can sit up a little bit taller, and we're pushing through the heel of the lower leg. And then I'm going to take the opposite arm or hand, whichever works for you, around this leg. And then we're going to take the other arm out behind. You can either take it into a bind or put it onto the ground behind. That can really help you to sit up. And then from here, we're going to inhale, raising up, and exhale into the twist. So we can take another lovely breath like that, inhaling up, exhaling down. One last breath here. And really going into this twist on the last breath. And then from here, we'll swap over and do it on the other side. Continue doing it on the mat. If you're on the mat, I'm going to show the chair people now how to do it. So if you're in the chair, again, making sure you've got a block or a book or something underneath your foot. And we're going to simply, if you can do it, raise the leg up and cross it over. Just cross it over that leg. If you can have it so it's a bit raised up like this, and so you can still be doing the same thing that we were doing on the ground, but like that, then that's fantastic. If not, then you can just keep the leg crossed like this and go like that. If that is impossible as well, you can always just have the ankles crossed and just do the same thing. So from here, chair people first, we're going to do some work with cat and cow. So coming forward into your chair so that you've got a bit of a gap behind you, hands on the knees, and we're going to start by simply trying to keep the shoulders where they are, and we're going to try and bring the navel forwards, keeping the chin, maybe take the chin slightly up, And then as you exhale, try and keep the shoulders where they are, but take the navel back towards the back of the chair and look down between the knees. So working between the two of those areas. And then once you've done that for a bit, we're going to come back to stillness, and we're then going to take some circles with the navel. So just really seeing if you can trace circles one way and then the other. Don't rush doing this, I'm just showing you what to do. If you're on the mat, we are coming now into all fours to do the cat and cow. So like always, sun ray fingers a little bit further ahead of the shoulders. You can have the toes tucked or the tops of the feet down, whatever suits you. Inhale, raising the head up to looking forwards, taking the spine to the floor. Exhale, going the other way. So just working a little bit in your own time, with your own breath, 3 or 4 times doing this. And then we're going to come back to a neutral spine, and we're going to begin to take those circles, just like the chair people. So we're just inhaling, going down towards the mat, coming all the way to the side and up. It's as if you're trying to rub your navel along the inside of a barrel. So we'll go back the other way, just doing whatever works for you, going trying to see how far you can take the movement, but if it hurts, back off. From here we're going to just do some little movements with the legs. So we're going to do one leg, doesn't matter which one, just take it out and behind, keep the knee bent, but take some big circles, 2 times one way and then back the other way. Great big circles, just trying to mobilise the hip. If you're sitting on a chair, you can do it from your chair in exactly the same way. So mobilising that hip and then back the other way 2 times. Beautiful. And then from here we'll come to a neutral spine, and then we're going to tuck the toes. So whether you're sitting on a chair or in all fours, tucking the toes, and we're going to walk back, the people who are on the mat, and we're going to sit down onto the heels with the toes tucked if this is possible. If it doesn't work and it's too difficult, you can come up to high kneeling and take some weight into the heels. The people who are sitting on a chair, you can just tuck the toes under, take them a bit back underneath the chair, tuck the toes under and see if you can press into the feet a bit. This is so good for the feet. So from here we're going to come into a lunge. So coming up to high kneeling, we're going to step forward with one foot. It doesn't matter which one you do. Putting your hands onto the front knee, and we're going to take a lunge forwards. So then we're going to drop the hands down either side of that foot, and we're going to come back into the half split, so keeping the toes down to begin with and then reaching the toes towards the body. So do that on the other side. I'm going to show the chair people what they're doing now. So chair people, in your toe squat here, pushing into the toes, I'm going to invite you to bring one foot back onto the block a little bit over, and we're going to come over to one side of the chair. So I've got my bottom sort of hanging off a bit here. This foot is on here for now, and I'm going to take the other foot back. Now if this works for you, so this is opening up this hip here, you can take the block a little bit further forward and see if you can come forward into this, if that works for you. So to come into the half splits, you'll need to bring this foot back so that it's in a place where you can be balanced, and take the heel of the front foot onto this block here, and we're simply going to come and take the body around. So it's exactly the same. So taking the body down rather, and this is opening up the back of the hamstring there, being gentle with yourself. So from here, I'm going to invite everybody just to come into a resting pose. So if you're on the chair, you can just bring your elbows onto your knees and just see if you can just take a little moment just to rest down. If you're on the mat, taking the knees wide, big toes together, dropping the hips back down onto the heels and take the head onto the hands, and we'll take some sighs out. Just let everything go. From here we're going to come up into a downward dog. So coming into a nice long cat, tucking the toes, keeping the knees nice and bent and lifting the bottom up. And then when we get there, just seeing if you can rest down, find some comfort in this pose if that's possible. Making sure the weight is going through all the fingers, sun ray fingers. And then we could just take some little walking the dog. So bending one knee, sending the other heel down, just for a moment. So people who are on a chair and find it difficult to come into standing, we can take a dog pose from here. So keeping the legs a little bit bent. I've got my heels on my block here, something solid. I'm going to take my arms up above the head, and then I'm just going to try and bring with the body straight, just come forward to wherever I can come. I can really feel that in the backs of the legs. So keep the legs nice and bent. And we're just imagining that we've got our hands on the ground here. So it's opening the armpits, opening the top of the neck, the back, doing exactly what it is in the dog. If you're able to stand up, but you still need a chair for support, then that's fine. You can move the bottom back, legs nice and bent, hands onto the chair, and then just let the body drop down. Let the head go. So it's exactly the same as we were doing sitting in the chair, but this is just using the chair as a prop. So then from here, everybody, so the people who are just on the mat, you can walk the hands towards the feet, feet towards the hands, coming to Uttanasana, standing forward bend. If you're doing this with the chair, you can just come and drop the hands down, let everything go. So we're joining the mat people here. If it's not possible for you to do that and you are sitting in the chair, then you can literally just take the hands down and the head down and release into this forward bend. Making sure if you've got any kind of blood pressure issues, keeping the head above the heart. So from here, I'm going to introduce you all to the first little idea and modification for Warrior 3. So it's a good idea to have a block if you're doing it straight on the, however you're doing it, but if you're doing it on the mat particularly, having a block somewhere in front of you. We have been working a little bit with this, but what we're going to do is we're going to start off by just inhaling and coming up to a flat back. So this in itself is the beginning of Warrior 3. Exhaling down, let's just do that once more, bending the knees. Inhaling, you can straighten the knees a little bit, but make sure they're not locked. So I'm looking down directly underneath where my head is. So from here, I'm going to take hold of the block in front of me here, and I could even have it up like that so that I've got more of a flat back, but just do what works for you. From here, we're going to bend one leg and just see if we can just take the other leg out behind. So I've still got my toes on the ground. And then from here, I can just raise the back leg up and push through the heel and drop it down. And then we can just go over onto the other side. So taking the foot behind, just seeing how that feels to begin with, and then taking the foot up behind, pushing through the heel. Beautiful. So we'll do that once more on each side. But if you're in the chair, then you're going to do the same thing, but you're just going to have your hands on the chair. Chair people, same as we were doing with the lunge, so taking one foot out behind if you can, and we'll take this foot a little bit further forward maybe, and then you're simply going to just bring yourself forward. If you've got a block and you want to use it, then just coming forward like this. I mean, it's not entirely like a warrior three, but it's something. And I'm just resting my foot back here. So the next pose we're going to come to is a chair pose. So if you're sitting in a chair, you can obviously very easily do this pose, but the way that we can make it a bit more like the standing pose is to take the feet a little bit further back so that you've got a bit of an angle going on there. And then from here, bring the arms up and we're just looking upwards. So this is a chair pose. It's a seated chair pose. If you're in your flat back, having been doing your warrior three from here, we're going to simply bend the knees, taking the hands back as if you're going to sit down in a chair, and then bring the arms up, coming into our chair pose, also known as awkward pose. So coming out of your chair pose, standing up, and we're going to come down to Tadasana. If you're in your chair, same as we were at the beginning, so making sure that the knees are directly in front of the hips, shoulders are released and down away from the ears, sitting up nice and tall, imagining yourself being pulled up and also rooting down, hands gently resting. If you're standing, you can always have your chair next to you to hold on to if you're a little bit wobbly. And we're going to begin to take some little movements with the legs. So again, if you have your chair, hold on. Otherwise, we're going to just bring the arms out to the side and we're just mobilising the hips again, but we're using it as a little bit of a practice for balance. So 2 times one way, 2 times the other way. And on the other leg, beautiful. Oh, I'm a bit wobbly today, again, and back the other way. So from our Tadasana, we're going to do some warriors, finding our strength and peace in the poses. So if you're in a chair, you can come onto the sides of the chair just like I showed you and do the arms in the same way. Legs slightly off one side, arms just doing what we're doing in the standing poses. But we're going to come into the centre of our mat. I'm going to mirror, so you're going to take your left leg forward, right leg back, and making sure that the back heel is rooted, outside edge of that back foot rooted to the ground. And if it feels like it's not, then just step in a little bit further, just doing what's right for you. She says, nearly falling over. And then we're going to inhale and raising the arms up, coming into our warrior one. And then exhale, we're going to open to our warrior two. So we're looking along the front arm. Take a look down at in front of your front knee and make sure you can see your big toe. Then moving the eyes back up to the front fingers, and then looking along the back arm, and just make sure that you're aligned between the two arms. Beautiful. And then we'll come back up through warrior one again and exhale. So we'll come back through the centre and we'll just do it on the other side. So coming into your starting position, make sure you're in the really good centred position with both feet rooted to the ground. If you're in the chair, then you know what you're doing on one side of the chair. Inhale, arms coming up. Exhaling, opening to warrior two. Sorry, I've got my back to you. Looking along the middle finger. Then looking over the back arm, making sure that you're aligned before you look over the front arm again, and inhaling back up to warrior one. from your seated Tadasana here, we're going to just take one foot out to the side. So you can be on your tiptoes like this, having the leg going to however far. You might not be able to take it very far, but however far you can. And the rest of the body is still facing forwards, knee nice and straight here. And then from here we're going to raise the arms up, and you can bring this little chin mudra. So sitting up really straight, and you're trying to keep this knee out to the side. This is your seated tree. And then when we come into the eagle, it's the sort of opposite. So starting again in your nice seated Tadasana, having the bottom forward on your chair so that you've got quite a lot of space here. And I'll do it on the other side. So we're going to just either take one knee right across like this, or if that's not possible, then you can just take the heels across, the ankles across each other. So from here, if you can try and bring this foot back, I can't do it. Some people can take their foot behind the other one. I can't do it. But just seeing if you can just bring it towards the back there. And then we're going to open with the arms, and I've got my left leg coming over the top. So I'm going to have my right arm coming over the top, coming into our hug. And then we're going to open into either backs of the arms together, or seeing if we can come into our Garudasana arms. And then from here, upper foot moving back towards the back, inhaling, and we can raise the arms up. And that is your seated Garudasana. So for those people working standing, we are going to start with the tree. So we can just begin by raising one foot, and take that foot out, take the knee out to the side, dropping that heel onto the leg here, bringing the arms out to the side just to begin to give you a bit of balance. You can always have your chair there, and then you can raise the foot up onto the calf there, bringing the hands up above, maybe take that chin mudra. If you're super good at balancing, you could try and bring the leg up here. It might look good, but to be honest, you're not really working so hard. This is much more hard work for the leg. And then we can just swap over and do the other side. So taking the weight onto the other side, coming up onto the tiptoe, turning that leg out, resting the ankle against the foot. And then if you want to give it a go, seeing if you can bring that foot onto the calf. Wonderful. So the next thing we're going to try and do is Garudasana, eagle. So I'm going to turn to the side so that you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to start this in the chair pose. So inhale, and then as you exhale, we're going to sit down, take the arms in front of us. Imagine that we're going to sit into a chair. And then from here, I'm going to start doing this with my right leg. So I'm going to come up onto the tiptoe of my right leg, and then I'm going to place this leg over the other one. And I'm actually keeping my toes on the ground to help me balance. Opening the arms. So I'm going to take my left arm on top because I've got my right leg on top, and then opening to the Garudasana arms. And then once I'm there, only if I feel that I can balance, I'm going to raise that foot and try and take it as far back as I can, keeping the lower leg bent. Inhale, lifting the arms. Beautiful. And then we can gently come out, really feeling that in the leg, I'm sure. So I'm going to turn around and try and do it on the other leg. So again, starting from here. Inhale, exhale, sitting down into my chair pose. So now I'm going to lift my left foot and put that over onto the other side. So you can just do ankle if that feels too much. Inhale, opening the arms. Exhale, this time I'm taking my right arm on top. opening to my Garudasana arms the other way, and then I'm going to see if I can lift the top toes up and raising the arms up. Oh, I am finding it hard balancing at the moment. Beautiful. So from here we can see if we can come and have a go at the Warrior 3 pose. So coming down into a forward bend, having your block available or your chair if you're doing it from standing. So we can just let the top of the body flop for a moment, and then we're going to come up into our flat back, take hold of the block, make sure you've got a little bend in the knees, and then we can take one leg back, it doesn't really matter which one you do, and from here raising that back leg, flexing the toes, and then only if it feels like it's available to you, we can try and raise the arms. So you can take them out, you can take them back, you can take them forwards, and just seeing where you can balance there. Remembering to breathe, and then we can come down and do that on the other side. So you, as I say, you can be holding onto your chair. If you're sitting in your chair, I've shown you already the Warrior 3 modification there. So we can take the other foot back, lifting that foot up, pushing through the heel, and then see if you can come onto the other side, doing whatever. I've got a wall here, which is really handy. Doing whatever you need. I'm holding onto the table now. Remembering that the wobble is how we find our balance. We're going to try and do the little sequence now that we've been working with over the weeks, and we're adding the Warrior 3 onto the end. So this is quite a challenging thing to do, so it may be that you just want to watch, but if you would like to have a go, please do. So starting in the middle of the mat, I'm going to begin doing my right, so you could do left so that you're mirroring me. We're going to inhale up into Warrior 1, exhale opening to Warrior 2, then we're inhaling up into Warrior 1 again. From here we're going to see if we can come over into our Garudasana. So we're going to take the weight onto the front foot, bringing the arms out to the sides, bring this foot over, bending down as if we're coming into the chair. I'm holding onto the wall here, which is very helpful. And then we're going to bring whichever arm we need over to have the opposite one on top into our Garudasana here. And then from here, we're going to come into the tree. So see, you can put your foot down in the middle to rest. See if you can bring your foot into the tree pose. And then from here, we're going to try and step back into Warrior 3. So I'm going to step back, come back into my forward fold, raising up. I've forgotten to have my block here, so hopefully I'll be able to do it. So I'm going to take one foot out behind me, raising the arms out to help me balance, and then I can try and bring the hands forward. Beautiful. So I don't know if my hips were flat then, they were meant to be. So I'll do it on the other side. So I'm taking my left foot forward, right foot back, up into Warrior 1, opening to Warrior 2, strength and peace, remember, inhaling back up to Warrior 1, and then I'm going to see if I can bring my foot round into Garudasana, and then doing whatever I need to have the other hand on top, and here we are. So then I'm going to try and, coming round to the tree pose, taking my foot onto the, she says nearly falling over, onto the calf of the other foot. And then I'm going to step back into my forward fold. Coming up, nice bent knee, taking the other foot out behind, arms out to the side. I've got a wall to hold on to, that's really useful. And then seeing if I can bring that up. Oh, I forgot to put my foot flexed, I've done it now. I've got a nice bent knee on the lower leg. Some people do it straight, but it's really hard, like that. Trying to have my hips flat, I don't know if they are, and then releasing down. Woo! So from here, we're going to come down and do some counter poses. So if you're still with me on the chair, the counter poses we'll do is a little twist. So take one hand to the opposite knee and just twisting behind, breath or two there. And then coming back round the other way, doing it the other way. So you'll be doing this while we're doing it on the floor. And then we can just take a little back bend. So hands to the back of the chair, pushing the chest forward. And then we'll just do a little forward bend. Beautiful. But if you're on the mat, we'll do it down there. So from the mat, we're going to come down into semi-supine, arms out along the mat. You can either bring the knees up into the chest and take them down, or you can do it from the floor, taking them down to one side, looking over the other way, having a couple of breaths there, trying to just let go into the mat. And then inhaling, we can bring the knees up or do it from them down on the floor, looking over into the other direction for a breath or two. And then we're going to bring the feet back onto the mat behind the bottom, arms coming down onto the floor. And then we're going to inhale and raising, curling the tailbone up, bringing the arms up above the head if you want to, dropping back down. We'll do that once more. So exhale, dropping the lower spine, inhale, raising up the hips, raising the arms up, coming into this bridge. Hold it for a moment if you want to. And then we can drop everything down, lift the knees up into the chest, maybe bring the head up, curling into a little ball before we come down, doing whatever your body needs for a moment. And then we'll come down into our Shavasana. So feet mat width apart, arms down by the sides with the palms facing up. Back of the head dropping gently, feet just relaxing, doing whatever they naturally do. And we will stay here for a few moments. So important to spend the time in Shavasana at the end of your practice. Some people say if you don't take the time to do this, then actually you're counteracting a lot of what you've done. The relaxation is what helps you to integrate the whole practice. It's really important for the muscles to let go for just a little time at the end of the practice. So stay here as long as you like. Don't move just because I do. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate your support. If you really want to support me though, you can always donate, and you can do that by contacting me through the email at the beginning and the end of the video. So may you have peace in your thoughts, peace in your words, peace in your heart, gratitude for Mother Earth. Namaste. Thank you so much.